Okay, today we're going to continue our look at the Projects module, and this time we're looking at our Slips tab. This is a very powerful tab. This tab gives you a whole wealth of information about all the various numbers, time, and expenses on your project in a very simple way, all very concise and to the point. So we're going to start on the top left here, and we see in our little blue employee bar, basically this section is a very quick summary of the hours and the billable value of the time of all the people that have contributed time to this project. And in fact, you can see these are actually links you can click on and go to those people's entries. So you'll see the hours just in straight number format, and then the value of those hours. Now, just to be clear, this is not necessarily how much they were billed at, it's how much they are valued at. So the billable value times the hours. And we can also see our totals here at the bottom, and total amounts of values for those things as well. Just to the right of that, in our yellow box here, we'll see a little bit more information that deals with our budget, and more specifically how much is left in our budget. So we can see all of our predefined phases that we have. Our numbers automatically flow in from our budget screen, and then we have actual number of time and materials hours. Now this does not count your additional services or expenses, it's just straight time and materials, basic budgeted services. And then how much is left in your budget that you can still bill if you choose to. And we can see that in terms of hours here and dollar values here. So, for example, in this particular case, we can see that we budgeted 50 hours and $10,000. And we can see that we're actually over budget on hours, but we're actually not over budget on dollars. We still have $1,085 left in our budget. So these types of things can help us more intelligently estimate our budgets for future projects, figure out if we're perhaps billing people out at too much or too little, or so-and-so is not working efficiently like they should be. Some of these types of things can be determined from these numbers. And then again, we see totals on the bottom of all those. And then we see a list of slips. So why do we have a list of slips here? Well, the reason for that is because not only do these grids at the top provide us some interesting and useful static information, but they also function as a filter. So if, for instance, I want to see all the time that Howard Rourke entered on phase 3 of the project that is completed and ready to be billed. So I could click on Howard Rourke to select him. I can click on phase 3 to select it, and then I can go over here to our little status option, and I can say complete, and I can see that Howard Rourke has 16 hours and $4,000 of billable value of time on that phase that is not already completed. And then it's also possible that we can actually get a list of this same exact set of time entries, and then we can actually do a batch approval or a batch hold or various other batch operations if we need to do that. So we don't have to go through the search screen and then take the time to put in all of our criteria, get our search results, and then go to our update, make all the changes. You can do that, but this is faster. Unless it's some sort of exotic search, then you have to, obviously. But that is one of the very valuable things about this screen. We can also even tack on a date range. So we can say, give me everything for Howard Rourke on phase 3 that's complete in the month of May. So we could put in the date range of May, and then it would narrow it down even farther. We can also narrow it down by what service type is the job code on the time entry. So if, for instance, we only want his additional service time in that criteria, we can select that, and we can see that there is none. If we put it back to basic, we can see that In this case, they're all basic services. Or if we wanted to see both, we could set it to both. We could also see anything that's currently drafted or build. And in this case, there are no drafts on this project currently, so there are no drafted slips. But a lot of very powerful filters here. And then just to show you briefly how the batch approval process works, one of the things we can do, we can get our criteria, and again we'll say, okay, show me all of the complete slips for Howard Rourke on phase 3. So there they are. And then we could very easily come up here to our lower action menu, go to list. We see the exact same 5 time entries. We can go update, we can say approve. And then assuming that we are actually logged in as someone who has approval authority on this project, we can see that they are in fact now all approved. We can look at them, we see approved by Howard Rourke, today's date. And we can see they're all grayed out, so they are in fact approved and locked down. And just as easily, we could come back to this screen, reselect the same criteria, not incomplete. And you can notice now, well, where are they? Well, they're not complete anymore. We approved them. So now we can select approved, and they show up readily. We can go right back to the same action menu. We see those same slips again, and we can very easily batch change them and unapprove them, or put them on hold, or change their cost rate, or any of a whole host of other features. So that is how the Slips tab works. And in a future video, we will continue our look at projects and finish up this series with the project's billing screen, which in and of itself has many subscreens that we will go over in detail.